God knew we were going to sin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Adam sinned, he didn't go, oops,
Right.
you know, what am I going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he knew that Adam was going to sin.
Right.
You know, he knew that he would be mad at people and have Noah build an ark.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that Christ was going to come and redeem us. He knew all this stuff. These weren't isolated events.
Mm-hmm.
These were things that were in the mind of God. So he made that provision for us.
Right.
Amen.
He paid for our sin before he made us.
Wow. That's a good perspective.
Amen.
Do you agree?
Amen. I think what I'm hearing from John is that the limits or the limitations of the gospel of salvation is that once you've received salvation, your focus from that point forward is to maintain your salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the gospel of the kingdom is not about maintaining salvation. It's about continuing to mature until you fully, exactly represent the king. And that the king's dominion is seen in your life. And where you are is the king's domain. That it's not just about an event of transferring you from a bad destination to a good destination. It's about your life being so changed that you literally represent the king in all things on earth, and that his interests are served by your life.
Wow. Wow. So when we talk about the kingdom of God or the gospel of the kingdom, I think that this is probably a real hard concept for the Western culture to grasp, since we don't have this type of monarchy or this
Sure.
type of system in place like they do in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about the kingdom, of course every kingdom should have a king.
Mm-hmm.
How do you equate the kingdom? Let's just talk about the kingdom very quickly.
Sure.
Because I think the breakdown in the kingdom will give us a full understanding of probably, how salvation, is just a part of the package.
Surely.
But like you said, Ernest, the totality, I believe, of the heart of God from the very onset was to see us come to maturation.
Amen.
To see us come to a point of maturity as sons. Can you just define what exactly is the kingdom, or how would you define the kingdom when Jesus pronounces that, repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand? What was he saying there?
He's basically saying, change your mind. The kingdom is here, and the kingdom is still here, and that it's very easy to enter into the kingdom because the great price that Christ has paid, and because he has paid this price, he is the king of the kingdom.
Amen.
He calls the shots. This is not about me. This is about him, and that my life is dedicated to him, and that my efforts are to do what he is telling me to do, to respond to him, and it's inevitably going to be for his benefit, not for my benefit. So those are some of the aspects of the kingdom.
Great.
Amen.
Great, John. Thank you.
One of the things that comes to mind for me is that I think it's the Greek word for kingdom, basilia, and I think the word we're familiar with that comes from basilia is basilica, and it basically means a foundation of rule or power. That should be good news to us, because the primary thought in a human's mind is, how do I protect myself and how am I provided for?
Exactly.
And so most of the human's life is based in trying to provide for themselves or protect themselves. And that is literally an entrapment where we fall prey to our enemy, because he knows that that's a priority of our life. And so what he does is set up systems that seem to answer those priorities in our lives that pull us away from God. Whereas the king is saying that in my kingdom, there is rule, there is power. I am able to protect you, I am able to provide for you. And the things that you fear, you don't have to worry about. I will be your shield and your buckler. And if you will fully trust me and follow me and allow me to change you as you make this determination to turn, then you will find that this power is not theory, it is reality.
Right.
And everything that you need, you quoted Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. These things are what you need.
Right.
And if we will allow ourselves to be under the rule of the king, which is to really insert ourselves in the kingdom, then that power will protect us and provide for us.
Right. You know, I was reminded of a scripture in John where basically Nicodemus was told that, man must be born again to see the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And then he told him, man must be born of water and spirit to enter the kingdom of God. So it's apparent that there are many people who actually can see the kingdom.
Surely.
But also it's apparent that it takes another level of faith or the Lord working in the heart of a person for them to enter the kingdom.
This is true.
Because I'm reminded where the scripture says, through many trials and tribulations shall we enter the kingdom. So how do you see that process, seeing the kingdom versus entering the kingdom?
Well, I think that, seeing the kingdom is probably the gospel of salvation. Here
Amen.
it is, and you have the opportunity. Now, some people will go into the kingdom from that, but it seems like very few. Those that have entered into the kingdom, I mean, it's a complete surrender to the Lord. It's a complete reliance upon the Lord. Nowadays when we talk so much about faith, really we have very little faith. We're quoting Bible verses and believing God for something from me. And that's not kingdom living. We know of several people that have entered into this faith thing where they have no opportunity to earn anything as far as monies are concerned, but yet they're kingdom people, and they know, again, God has made the provision for us before he made us. And where they are now is, in a place where, they're totally dependent upon the Lord without, without asking for hints and putting envelopes in their newsletters type of thing. Or, saying if you send in $1,000, I will, you will be blessed and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's not living by faith.
No.
That's living by hints. So, it's a complete surrender to the Lord.
Amen.
But in that you learn that God is faithful.
Amen.
And it's, again, obeying him. If he puts you into a situation like this, then he will provide. Now, it's again, if I'm serving myself and I try to put myself into this situation, it won't work.
Right.
That's good. Good. Yeah.
The scriptures you used, I think, really help us to understand what John is saying. By many trials and tribulations, we enter the kingdom. The trials and tribulations essentially are the goodness of God to destroy our plans as to what it takes to provide for ourselves and protect us. And we all come with good plans, well-devised plans, or even if they're not well-devised, motivated plans to make sure that we're taken care of. And what God does is, at some point, he begins to let these things fail so that we realize that we're bought with a price. We're not our own.
Right.
And this, as you described from John chapter 3, once the gospel of salvation has been given to a man, he can see the kingdom. And then there's this process of water and spirit. Our souls are washed by the water of the word. And the Spirit of God begins to reveal to us that we can't live by our own human soul. We have to follow the Spirit of God.
Amen.
And when we're following the Spirit of God, and when our intellect and our perspectives are washed by the water, then we really submit